Thing is, my dad and I, we always had football. We had football to talk about before I could talk. He raised me to love football. Now, some would say that would be a curse. That a guy doing that to a kid gave him no choice. Nah, you see, we both lucked out, my dad and I. We both ended up loving the same thing. A lot of kids don't get that. One of my earliest memories is watching football with my dad. We'd lay on the living room floor in front of the TV, and he'd tell me everything that was going on. When it came to football, he knew everything. And when you're little, you want that in a dad. And during the commercials, we'd wrestle and roughhouse, and the wrestling was great. I was learning to love football, but I already loved to wrestle with my dad. That was what football was, time with my dad. And how could you not love that? My dad, he took me to my first pro game. I still remember that. I was amazed at the size of it. It was so small. The field was the same size. How could that have been? 100 yards, just like Pop Warner. These guys played on the same field as I did. It was too much for my 8-year-old mind to process. We'd cheer, joke, laugh, yell. My dad would spurt out colored commentary. He'd make strangers next to us laugh. He was on top of the world, and he took me with him. And he can still do that in a football game. Yeah, my dad and I, we always had football. Even when I was in high school, you know, that age when you didn't have anything to talk about with your dad, we always had football. We always had that connection. And when I moved away to college and then to Lincoln, I really got into our home team. I was passionate. Okay, I was crazy about the Chiefs. They were a great team, but looking back at the time, they meant home to me. A connection to my hometown. A connection to my dad. Little known fact. After a game-winning touchdown, grown men can hug each other in a way they can't do in any other situation. It's true. It's a man law. I never hugged my dad in that way. Complete joy, complete jubilation celebrating a touchdown. Now throw in 3 hours of eating barbecue and screaming at men that could squash you like a bug, and wearing clothes so ridiculous that it'd make Elton John blush, and you got to love football. How can you not? My dad and I did. Now a strange thing happened. The seasons, I believe normal people call them years, passed. This passion that we had for football, well, it waned a bit. Now, the cynical side of me would say that's because the Chiefs stink, and boy, do they stink. But I don't see it that way. You see, I got older too, and I became a dad too. And to help me out when things were tough, my dad would come over to my house, and we'd go on these walks. And now we didn't talk about just football. We talked about our kids, and family, and marriage, and how blessed we both were. Now, we're sensitive, but we're not girls. I have to admit, the draft and the cover 2 did come up, but these were good times. It was like back when I was a kid, and we watched the game and wrestled during the commercials. We were close again, but now in a different way. Sane people would call it a healthy way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure healthy's the word. Now, I get to be the dad. Now, my kids and I sit on the living room floor, and we have football too. It's a video game, and we're both on the same team, and we have a great time. To me, it's part of being a dad. Now, when my dad comes over to our place to watch the game, he's Papa. The TV's bigger, sounds louder, but you want to know my favorite part? It's not the touchdowns or the jaw-dropping plays, or even the wins. It's the commercials.